this pace. This could be the first 2-0 for Energy Pacemaker.
And what a 2-0 it would be as well. We are into Champ Select already here. Royal are going to be on the blue side for this game. EP over on the red. We've had Nidalee and Lissandra banned there for Royal, so pretty similar stuff. Just a quick adaptation there for Lissandra. Actually against themselves, LeBlanc, the last play in there as well, and Vega Callista with one more to go for EP.
Yeah, no need to change anything really for Energy Pacemaker. Ban away that Callista. Well, I mean, he laned fine on the Corki, but the Starhorn Royal Club team especially didn't seem to rotate and use the Corki pick and really get the mileage out of that mid-game monster in Corki. Cassidy's the final ban, very, very standard. Na's available now. Cole is Na. Is a very impressive thing, and Amazing Jay's already shown he's no slouch on that champion either.
No, not at all. So that would be a very sensible first pick here. I like that Royal aren't panicking too much. They're not going to Victor bans. We're just going to keep everything safe. Weird to me that they banned Lissandra on the blue side, but clearly respecting the power of the champion.
Yeah, the LeBlanc ban as well. Korn doesn't play a lot of LeBlanc. Of course, that would be an excellent choice against Victor if it was to come through again. There's an embarrassment of riches to decide between. The first pick now was already validated in the previous series. Not picking it up for Cola here is a surprise to me.
Yeah, no, but going for Zero's Jana instead, which is another fantastic champion for him. But EP, that was banned in the last game. They might not even look at Na. So curious to see what they do here. I do think Drizzle's going to go back to Lee Sin, and Amazing Jay is already locked in the Heck Room, and there's the Lee Sin.
All right, he's not going to adjust the summoners. That's his summoners. We'll go with that for now. We'll just assume that. Block them out from your screen, guys. That's going to be his summoners. We need the Revive Teleport to make it to the LPL. Remember, this was banned away from Amazing Jay last series. Interesting to see that he values that Hecarim above Na, and that's after a carry performance on Na.
I mean, that's a great point here. I mean, this does give Royal that Na if they want it now for Calder, which would be a very strong pick. So Royal, potentially some very intelligent drafting here to move through again, but we'll have to see here. EP, though, always sticking to their guns here. And again, they're comfortable with what they like to play, and they do love to play some wacky stuff here. Royal kind of tossed around a few picks here, but going to go very standard here. Going to get the Corki back for Well and Jarvan there, presumably for Insect.
Just surprised with how this draft is already spread out for Star and Royal Club. You start with Jana. Of course, Well, he's been known for his Callista. We've actually seen him only on Callista and Corki. With a hyper carry, sure, the Jana makes a lot of sense. With the Corki, the laning matchup's not really that great. Of course, it's just fine. Corki's a very strong lane champion on his own. But usually you want that peel for a hyper carry. That's not really what you get out of Corki.
No, we'll have to see. There's a lot of revive today, by the way, as Graves Thresh, the completed bottom lane there for EP. So I do like it. Smart and aggressive stuff there for Energy Pacemaker.
I choose to interpret it as that after that big victory, EP are looking to revive their title hopes, and this is the start of their assault. This is the time we'll look back. We're a bit tongue-in-cheek right now about EP's fortunes, but look, anything can happen. 44-game season. They're only just now playing their 22nd game. Still half the season to go. And just, let's not overanalyze one game, but it was an excellent performance from EP.
It really was, and I think the bigger news here might be if Royal don't get any points from this match. Again, they need those points. They're sitting at 7th right now, I believe a tie for 7th. So dangerously close to dropping out of playoff contention. So they do want to at least pick up 1 point here. They're going to keep it very safe across the board. Aurelia there in the top lane for Cola, and Xerath picked in there for Korn.
So with this draft, though, now that it's shaked out, there's not a lot of tools to deal with the Xerath. Jarvan is the traditional tool to deal against the Xerath. He's been taken away by Starhorn World Club already. Azir is available on the champion board, still patch 5.2, so at least a strong laning matchup in Azir. But in terms of getting on top of that hyper carry, that artillery in terms of Xerath, they've got the Hecarim. Hecarim can do it. Of course, he has such long range with the Onslaught of Shadows, but it's not the reliability of that Jarvan engage. And they have Jana for disengage on both the Xerath and the Corki. They're thinking about Victor again.
I mean, they might just go back in for it. Victor, a pretty interesting champion, and Raphael going to do it one more time here. Going to take Victor back into the mid lane. This time, it's against the Xerath.
I don't know about this matchup. I can understand Victor against Lissandra because against medium-level opponents, melee or medium-range champions, Victor can trade very well. He can get in range for his Q, get decent damage trades off. But against Xerath with all his range, I just see him struggling. There's that potential that he'll sit, within the 1,000 range units of all of Xerath's damage, and just kind of have to wade through a massive magic damage and able to just get his short-range spells off in a fight. I don't like the lane matchup, but it suited the comp last time, and maybe they're just picking for comp.
And that's kind of what I wanted to ask you, is that I do agree that the lane matchup, especially against such a safe, strong laner like Xerath, could be a bit awkward. But again, they kind of picked up for Wombo last game. They have similar-looking stuff there.
So in terms of lane matchups, Aurelia versus Hecarim, You can tell that Aurelia's probably going to win that matchup, especially early, but with some levels for Hecarim. When he gets a bit of health to counteract the hit-end style, could be doing just fine. High-pressure junglers on both sides.
Yeah, this is what we expect from both Insect and Drizzle. Going to run it back here with Jarvan and Lee Sin. This is probably the most interesting matchup here. Xerath versus Victor as Korn takes on Raphael.
And hopefully with another victory, Raphael can get his name spelled correctly on that graphic. Still misspelled. And Corki versus Graves, I believe we saw this matchup last round. Nothing's changed. And Kane's Graves look great.
It did, and Wells Corki perhaps a little underwhelming there as we see Zero back on a comfort pick in Janna, but Shu, no slouch on Thresh either. So pretty interesting stuff here. I like what EP have teamfight-wise. I think that's what they're looking for with their comp.
One thing you can say teamfight-wise, we haven't been able to say this in the LPL, so this is, I'll get this out. Graves, Thresh, Hecarim. It's on. The Chinese freight train is on.
Well, we'll see if the freight train can keep rolling. We're in back for game 2. And we are onto the Rift here for Game 2. Energy Pacemaker in a bit of an upset, or actually up a game so far here in this best of 2. Royal over on the blue side. Going to try to even it up and get at least a point out of this exchange with EP. Could be their first ever 2-0 and get some really well-wanted 3 points.
And some very comfortable choices picked up with the Graves Thresh once again. The Victors actually opted for Flash Ghost this time, so mega mobility. I thought it would just be the Distortion boots and then the Aftershock upgrade on the Q, the turbocharge, but he's just going for the Ghost.
And I love the adaptation. You mentioned the Janna already in the draft, being so good at disengaging a fairly short-range team here for EP. Raphael knows what he needs to do. He has to get in amongst it and really get the damage down.
Absolutely, and hopefully he'll have Amazing J on a really powerful Hecarim to run in and just interrupt the team, cause havoc, because of course when you get that fear through after the the Onslaught of Shadows comes through, you can spot up engages and really just separate people in a fight, and that's when the real power of EP's comp. If we do see Raphael waiting in on that Victor, he gets so much damage done.
Yeah, and of course the other big news here, Amazing J back on his Hecarim. We'll just see how amazing that horse is this game, but he is running the very aggressive summoners that we've seen that he really pioneered, that we've seen a couple of times now in the LPL. Ignite, Teleport, no mobility needed.
But other people are cribbing the Ignite choice. Of course, we saw Going rocking the Ignite Teleport last week. A lot of people putting a lot of faith in these Teleport home guard ganks. We haven't really seen the big purchase out of them just yet, but you can definitely see the potential with that devastating charge E.
Yeah, and if we can say anything about Energy Pacemaker, they just do whatever they feel like doing pretty much. They've always got new strategies. No different here in this particular game. I'm amazed that Raphael's taking Victor into battle once again here. And Amazing J is actually now in a lane swap situation.
Yeah, so we do have a lane swap being forced. Amazing J actually sapping experience well. Takes a long time to check the bush. Maybe new to competitive play. Forget some of the strategies we've seen in other teams. I believe Ackerman in NA was famous for sapping a few waves just sitting in that bush. Amazing J gets a bit of bonus experience regardless.
Yeah, nice stuff there from the horses. Insect will clear out his red buff now as well, with Cola helping him out as well on the Aurelia, but a pretty good freeze coming through for Royal, and Zero's going to rejoin the lane.
Yeah, I'm just surprised to see Amazing J abandon the jungle follow and actually just enter lane straight away. He sapped away a bit of experience. If I tab over to him, he got most of a level, so I guess the surprise factor did get him a bit of extra experience, but no jungle follow, no extra creep score being achieved in the first few minutes for Amazing J.
No, but that potentially will enable Drizzle here as well, so we'll have to see. But Insect might even look for a quick gank here in the top lane. We could see a 4-man turret dive.
Yeah, 4 men are positioned here. They're holding the wave so well. The moments these creeps break onto the turret, Amazing J, no flash. He's going to be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, the cannon creep is coming here. I do like that Shu's actually rotating in with the Thresh already, so might be able to save him. Kane down the bottom is going to be left on Graves. So Amazing J, now the gank does come in. There are so many minions here to tank, and Amazing J has to be very careful. Good bolt coming through there. Good knock-up as well, and Amazing J caught out of position. Cola gets the kill.
Expert turret dive coming through from Starhan Royal Club. Look back at Worlds. They were always great at doing this, but Zero tanking the turret from very early. He was the one that took full turret aggro. Still very healthy. They're trying to answer it with a dragon, but excellent early rotation from Starhan Royal Club.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to have Amazing J teleport back as well. I do love the quick dragon. Drizzle actually was one of the first players I saw really look into early dragons as we move through the patches, so he's been a big pioneer almost of a lot of this strategy. Trade tanking coming through now as well. Raphael holding his lane opponent there nicely, and EP going to trade that first kill for the dragon.
But you think about this, of course, the creeps were already well under Amazing J's turret. He didn't miss a lot of experience in this situation. Okay that he died. Okay, first blood to Aurelia. But in terms of advantages, 1 kill for the first dragon, you'd give that trade to EP.
Yeah, and even has Shu up the top to help him, not just, keep him safe and protect him a little, maybe do a bit of babysitting, but also help Lust hit as well. He's got the Relic Shield here, and Zero has swapped it up. He's gone for a coin this time.
And the resulting 1v1 matchup down the bot lane is Graves versus Aurelia. We've seen a lot of Graves in soul lanes. I believe it's been LGD that loves to put imp on Graves and stick him in a soul lane. It's usually been the top, but of course in the bottom, just a bit of geographic changes there. Aurelia is one of the stronger champions to deal with an AD carry. She has that strong gap close. She has the stun. She has very strong trade damage, but she's going to need a few levels to get to that point, and by then I imagine they'll need to rotate Thresh down bottom for that second dragon.
And I love that we see Graves in this situation so often, just because AD carry usually getting free farm in that sort of soul lane. That's great for them, but really for Graves especially, he just loves the extra experience.
He loves to scale. He scales very well with levels, so of course he'll be over-leveled when the first real dragon contest happens, and you have to assume about 5 to 4.5 minutes time. He also, in a soul lane, he has wave clear. He's inherently tanky with the True Grit passive, so he actually lanes very, very well in a 1v1 setting. I'm actually surprised that we've never seen Graves top. It's not exactly top tier, but just like Corki, it has its uses. But now with all these lane swaps, we're starting to see a little bit of that solo lane Graves.
Drizzle actually sneaking in here, does check the buff. I'm going to steal the red. Insect was there moments ago, so incredible jungle intuition there from Drizzle. He's going to steal away a red buff.
I guess he was just predicting that with all the time spent in the top and the pathing that resulted, that Insect wouldn't have finished that red buff at all so far in this game. And Insect's going to walk to it, but Drizzle's already DPS'd it down.
Actually didn't even use the smite. Going to leave a little minion there as well, so going to miss out on a little bit of experience, but Insect will get the bad news as he shows up to the buff, walks over the ward, and might not even notice. Yeah, does notice now as well. The buff is gone, but Drizzle a level down. Might just try and fight him. Q will miss though, and Drizzle does have to back away.
The Q goes wide. You could see Graves was actually positioning to come and force a 2v1, but backs away. And we come back to the mid lane, at least in the early levels, before a lot of ranged wave kick comes through for Raphael. Doing just fine so far in this matchup.
Yeah, actually clearing up very well competitively against the Xerath there with his Death Ray versus Arcano Pulse. So interesting lane. We'll keep track of it as the next few minutes do tick on here. But again, Energy Pacemaker, very solid early game. They're looking good so far.
And I feel like I kind of underrate the amount of wave clear that's been able to have on a Victor once you finish that Augment Aftershock, previously known as the Augment Death, the extra damage on your Death Ray on your E. You do have a lot of instant wave clear if the minion wave doesn't move from side to side. If you can just DPS it down, especially as it's coming to break to the lane, a lot of wave clear comparable against Korn's Xerath.
Victor does get away, and there's the augment that you talked about. So already going to get that in, moving in back towards the mid lane, and going to keep wave clearing out against Xerath. A great double flay there from Shu. Amazing J going to go in as well. That's an amazing hook on Noel, who did Valkyrie out. Zero's going to use his ulti. Amazing J a little low, but a good trade in the top side.
Amazing J, though, doesn't have any more sustain available, doesn't have a flask like his opposite number Aurelia, only has a mana potion available. You have to think if they're staying in lane, they're getting reinforcements, but it's actually Jarvan that's the first to rotate top.
Yeah, going to look for another dive here. I love this aggression here from Royal. Raphael actually going to find a pink wall, clears that out now for himself, and send an Insect backs away from the top.
Yeah, Raphael, as you mentioned, positioned himself towards the top. They've removed the pink ward, but there'll be very quick reactions coming through from Victor, especially with the Flash Ghost. You can use that Ghost to get between lanes early. That's kind of an underrated thing. When we used to see Ghost Flash coming out of Ziggs, specifically Dade on that champion, he would always Ghost to engages just so he knew that his first positioning in the team fight will be very strong and still have the flash for reposition. Same sort of pressure in the early game before you have to really have it in those late game team fights.
Yep, this gives you the ghosting in the battle option here as Drizzle actually going to come in, try and retake his own red buff here. Going to have a bit of a smite ball. Insect actually flayed back out of the E into the gravity field. Drizzle picks up an amazing kill.
Those mechanics, you don't see the Victor so often, but that was an incredible situation right there, and it results in the kill for Drizzle. He got going in the last game, he started here again.
And I don't think I'll ever say those words again in a competitive League of Legends match, but that was stunning to watch.
It actually looked like they had the augment on his W ability, but no, that was just the on-point flay coming through from Shu. It was Zero's Thresh last game, largely a non-factor. Shu already impressive on that champion.
Yeah, looking strong so far. We've got a Sightstone actually up now for Janna as well. Actually, ulti coming through. Looks like Korn was trying to snipe something away, but couldn't find anything he liked there, unfortunately. And Raphael continuing to stay very competitive in CS in the mid.
And the only health bar that really makes sense in that situation was Drizzle, but he was around half health. He would not have died even if all 3 ultimate hits had hit at this point. Doesn't even have Merlonomicon complete here, does Korn. So a bit optimistic.
Yep, we're going to give the blue buff a go again here for EP. Unfortunately, Raphael lost the first one, but should be able to pick this one up. Here is back down the bottom. Thresh has rejoined his AD carry. Cole is still down the bottom in a 2v1 now, and a BSO done for Kane. He's more than happy to swap back. Drizzle actually Gets a bit low on his jungle, but he'll be fine.
Yeah, we have to think now that we spoke about Shu swapping down to the bottom once Dragon was starting to come up. We're only a minute away from Dragon, so it makes sense to have that Thresh Graves lane complete in the bottom. There's no real ward coverage for either team around the actual river area, so there is definitely a Dragon open to both teams, but you have to feel that Star and Royal Club only have a rough timer. They won't have the exact timer, given how early that first Dragon was for EP.
Yeah, and for EP, they're actually really getting geared up for a strong mid-game team fight for that next Dragon here. Both mid laners do have blue buffs on either side, and I like what Amazing J is doing in the top as well. EP might be able to get a turret here, actually. Kane and Shu with a very strong rotation, but Amazing J is going for what looks like a quick Frozen Heart.
You would have remembered going on that Hecarim top yesterday, really struggled to get his build going because he spent so much time building towards a Trinity Force that he couldn't be tanky for early game fights and had to be baby through the laning phase. Just going straight for tank items mean that Amazing J will be very important in this next Dragon fight, but the big issue, Drizzle starts the Dragon. They do not have teleport on Amazing J, and he is not rotating towards the Dragon. This is a risk for EP.
No, I mean, Corki's up stuck in the top as well, so this will be a 4v4 here. EP are just getting on the Dragon. Insect does know what started. He had a ward down here. Mike dive in though, can't get the smite, but a good knockback there from John, and good poke actually. Drizzle does have to dodge up, but will use the safeguard. Insect again getting trapped, but Shu's going to dive in on top of him. Collateral damage just wide there, but a lantern, it's not close enough for Kane. No one can click on it, and now he's actually caught out of position. Thresh just had to sit there and take it and gives the kill over to Korn.
It was a game of inches when he threw out that lantern. It probably would have led to at least one kill for EP, but couldn't get it over the wall, was not clickable for the Graves. Didn't want to use his flash heal with no mana pool to be able to continue to sustain a fight. And the result is Shu falls down.
Yeah, a little awkward there, but we'll reset things. EP going to get their second Dragon quite quickly here, actually, in this game, after Drizzle kind of snuck away the first one. So 2 for 1 there. Royal do have a kill edge and a slight gold lead, but ENG Pacemaker keeping control of the neutrals.
So I want to focus on Well. What I want to see from him on the Corki a second time is Star and Royal Club really abusing that Trinity Force Corki power spike. We didn't mention it, except ironically almost, because it didn't really make much of a difference in the first game. EP rotated so smartly between lanes, and the laning phase ended so early that the Trinity Force power spike was almost negated by the 5-man grouping coming through from EP. Well, at this time around, he's farmed very happily, of course, been in a solo lane most of the time. He has enough gold to go back and complete his Sheen. Not quite the Trinity Force yet, but the acid test for me is whether Starhorn Royal Cup and Well in particular can play smartly around the massive power spike, perhaps the highest one-item power spike in the game. Trinity Force Corki.
Yeah, certainly for an AD carry and possibly among our champions here. Is actually down the bottom. Amazing J calls in Drizzle. Now Cola, though, will back off very quickly. Does not want to get aggressed upon, especially with the Ignite that Amazing J can add there. And we've actually had the AD carriers swap back into the top lane, it seems like. They're actually sticking there now that the Dragon's down. Kane back with the BF Sword and his pickaxe.
Yeah, with the Dragon being down, kind of the farm fest in mid lane, no real point to try and contest Korn's turret unless they want to put 5 members into the mid lane. So the most realistic one to pick up is this top lane turret. So that's why they've moved 2 members there. No Dragon to be picked up for another 4 or 5 minutes. So we finally get this 1v1 matchup between Amazing J and Cola. But this is a level 7 Amazing J who's been very well held, is sitting on 1,000 gold when he doesn't have much to speak of against level 9 Cola's Aurelia. Amazing J has to be so careful. No flash available, we have to remember.
Yeah, Insect down here as well. Does clear out the ward he was sitting on top of. So good play there from Amazing J. Will keep him safe for now. But Cola really ramping up in this Aurelia. And we talked about the double Trinity Force here. We've talked about it a lot, at least for the first Trinity Force in the last game. So Royal have a very big power spike to play around.
I mean, you can't overstate. If Corki's the best Trinity Force user in the game, Aurelia might be second or even arguably first. So the power spike in, what, 5 minutes time? 3rd Dragon time, would have to say, as a rough estimate. Starhorn Royal Cup are going to have a massive burst in power.
Raphael going in, trying for the solo kill there, flashes in, but Korn gets out of the Chaos Storm using the flash of his own and his heal. So aggression there coming on now for Victor.
Yeah, if there wasn't a defensive heal and that ability had hit, I think there might have been kill pressure. But a summoner trade for 2 summoners and still having an escape summoner of Sorts and Ghost. I say of Sorts because remember there is an Insect on Jarvan, and of course the Ghost not going to be so useful against the Cataclysm. It's still a favorable trade there for Raphael.
And he's still up in CS in the mid side as well, so continuing to get aggressive, building up to his Murilanomicon after the initial augment here. Hasn't quite got it yet, but it's pretty close. And Victor has done a lot of work in the mid games for EP in game 1. We'll see if he can do it again in this one.
I mean, Drizzle has to be mentioned as well. He's been definitely out-pressuring Insect in these games, playing aggressively, stealing away buffs. We see Amazing J and Drizzle not showing any respect to the Starhorn Royal Club jungle, and it's aggressively moving around. They're looking to turret dive Cola.
Yeah, they actually might just go in. Amazing J already popped his ulti see Drizzle down as well. Shu going to try and make some space here, and Drizzle gets a kill there. Great three-man gank by EP.
Easy to say turret dive when I remember there wasn't even a turret to return to there, and despite the fact that he had both summoners, over-leveled was Cola, he falls down instantly.
Yeah, so a good gank there. Will get themselves a kill. No objective to parlay into, but Kane will just continue last hitting here, and if Cork and Graves are free-farming, they're probably both pretty happy, but you said it already, Drizzle and the rest of EP just out-moving Royal once again.
Amazing J is a crazy man. He's sitting on 1,800 gold now. That's actually more than half his total gold. So his effective amount of items at this point is minimal to say the least. He needs to go and shop, otherwise, again, he's just basically glorified base stats.
He's going to run away back to his pink ward there and should recall and pick up his first major item. Raphael going to get donated the blue buff here once again. Drizzle going to help him, his mid laner out there, and Raphael is going to secure that. Xerath looks to do the same here, and we're going to continue as normal now.
Be interesting to see if the Frozen Heart is the first pickup coming from Amazing J. He's laning against Aurelia. Of course, there's not too many attack speed-based champion. Of course, Insect will be doing consistent damage with the autos. Corki in the late game may be doing auto attacks, of course, more based around spells at this point. So he elects to move towards the magic resist, showing a lot of respect to the CC and just the AoE magic damage coming through from Korn, and feeling at least that at this point he's going to be competitive enough, even without a big armor item.
Yeah, and curious, like you mentioned, to see him not complete something, even just for the aura effect to get sort of added gold benefit, but again, instead wants to be very tanky, dragging back in 55 seconds here, so I guess he just wants to make sure he is the front line his team needs for these big mid-game team fights.
Absolutely. He's got a bit of everything, a bit of health, a bit of magic resist, a bit of armor, and then some cooldown reduction. So again, he just wants to go in the fight, soak whatever's thrown his way. Maybe building towards a Warmogs might have suited that idea a little bit more, but all these items that he's building towards fit his build path a lot more than a Warmogs, at least early.
I think one of the cool things as well is that if EP are lining up for this next Dragon and do win a big team fight, all of a sudden Amazing J, who has struggled a bit early on here, just explodes in gold value once he gets all those assists.
But you talk about them winning a Dragon fight. How are they going to win with Trinity Forces both completed? It looks just so beautiful on the Star and World Cup item list. They're double Trinity Force, power spikes everywhere, but the fight's on.
Well, Drizzle actually got knocked back there by Zero. That was amazing, but Raphael does pick up the kill. Drizzle's still alive. No, never mind. Korn gets him killed. Now Shu going to go in and Cola ripping through people, but Amazing J's put it in as well. Now Will's going to come moving. There's the Onslaught of Shadows, gets onto 3, I believe, and Raphael gets another kill just going off on Victor. Amazing J still in. Kane flashes forward for a double now, and Will could be in trouble, but EP somehow turned the fight around.
The aggressiveness out of Kane to flash in is surprising, just given his play so far in the LPL. Maybe channeling some of his aggressive Draven days many a moon ago. He definitely suits these more aggressive, short-range carries. He's been looked great on Graves both these games, and he was the equalizer of that fight.
And a massive amount of credit to Raphael there as well, really pushing him through the mid part of that team fight, just dishing out so much AoE damage. And Amazing J going to come in there, tank things up. Zero almost got himself flash-kicked into the team there, but had an amazing Monsoon to keep it down. Almost steal almost happens, but Raphael does have enough burst.
Would have been a critical steal to get. It was the third Dragon. It double scales with Hecarim, we have to remember. Gives Hecarim damage, but in general, helps the rotations. And Zero, he's in a lot of trouble.
He gets nailed there, flayed back as well after the death sentence. Caught in the gravity field, and Raphael will finish him off at his leisure.
You could see Zero not moving there, accepting his fate after the wonderful skill shot and usage coming out from Shu. Not looking good for Star on Royal Club pastry time.
Not even that, unfortunately. Caught in the gravity field, still stunned after the flay and the death sentence.
Didn't even appreciate it. So Drizzle goes very, very deep, and you can see they just commit everything to kill him. He lives longer, and this means that Korn has to use his ult super, super early. Cola comes in with the Trinity Force assassination, but Amazing J's built tankiness. He's able to go into the front line. Kane finally comes in, watch for the aggressive flash. He wants all the kills, even goes for a turret dive on the Xerath. Kane going big, and that was before Infinity Edge was completed. Suddenly Infinity Edge Zeal to complement his Berserker Greaves. In a big, big power spike now is Kane.
Yeah, and Amazing J back in the top side. Gets himself some assists and a bit more gold, so catching up slowly. Does have to be careful of this Aurelia, who does have the completed Trinity Force. But EP right now kind of navigating that power spike as Insect almost gets flayed out of his EQ. Death Sentence just a little short there as well. But EP continuing to play aggressive. This is the team. This is what Royals team comp wants to be doing.
But line skill shots all over the map, going really aggressively from EP. They seem very on point today after a disappointing showing yesterday. Star on Royal Club, first time we've seen them this weekend. They definitely haven't returned from the holiday too hot. And again, 0-4 their last weekend out. 0-2, especially against EP, will be a big, big upset.
Yeah, we can see them moving through now as well, looking to try and get more aggressive and get themselves the 2-0 that they really want now that they're ahead in this series. As we look back to Raphael's victor, that's been a highlight already of this series. it's an even faster Fury Enchant for those Sork shoes.
Wow, so he's got it very, very early. Of course, he already has the Augment coming through. It's the Augment Turbocharge on his Q. Every Q will be moving at 550 move speed in the fight, but the fight's begun.
Amazing Day pops his ulti in second trouble, does get kicked back, and Shu and Kane here coming through as well. Zero getting very low, does go down to Kane. Korn cannot quite fend them off here. Well going in, Shu going in, grabbing everybody, and Raphael just coming in for the burst damage. Gives up his life, but there's so much AoE here. Insect gonna dive in, but Kane's right outside the Cataclysm. Cola gonna get low as well. Raphael shredding through people as Victor gets the double. Well, trying to get a few more kills. Kane's already dead, and that's 4 for 3 this time around.
They're trying to check when Well has Valkyrie available because he still does have potential to continue this fight. He has it up now. Will he go aggressive? No, he backs away. But Well was the unsung hero. He would have been able to get that double kill on both Raphael and Drizzle. Raphael lived so long during that fight, getting the refresh on his Q for more and more shielding, stayed alive, and the consistent damage with all the movement speed afforded by his double movement items, the augment on his Q and that Fury enchantment, he's getting around these battles and doing surprising bursts.
Yeah, Raphael really playing the team fights, especially with his Victor, just superbly here in this one. Well, we'll push in some minions towards the top side, but have to back off here. I mean, Royal have plenty of room right now. Aurelia's moving in for a second item. Looks like Frozen Heart's going to come through. Korn almost done with his death cap as well, and we've already seen what damage the Trinity Forces can do. Royal's still a little bit behind in gold, about 3,500, but they do have tools to push through now.
And their mission is to assassinate Raphael at the start of these team fights. Of course, last time we saw he went for an early Zhonya's. He doesn't have any of the bits towards it. He's probably going to go more aggressive with maybe the Void Staff early. He's not building towards a defensive stasis option when they have the lockdown of the Cataclysm, when they have Cola with a lot of burst assassination potential on a squishy person like Raphael. That's the target selection they need. It looks like it might be Graves, but with the consistent damage we're seeing from Raphael, they need to kill Victor at any cost.
Yeah, actually a 1 HP blue buff there will get taken away by Raphael, or stolen more accurately there. Amazing Day gets the top turret now as well, so 3 for 1 in favor of NG Pacemaker, and they keep pressing forward in this game.
Amazing Jay, it's the use of that onslaught of shadows to really separate team fights, but team fights begun.
Insect's going way deep here, but Raphael just blows him up there. Kane uses his heal and is safe, and now Drizzle going to kick back Korn there. Raphael going to go in, but Well is coming in for a lot of damage, and now Corky forced to back off as 3 members of Royal have already fallen. Shu going to try and find a hook here. Drizzle's got plenty of skill shots as well. A good play back there for Cola. Amazing Jay going to run in, just pops his ulti to get a little bit closer, and Well, who can't find any kills yet, will be the last member to completely ace. Knockback there with a devastating charge, and the last kill goes to Kane.
We show so much respect to Trinity Force carries, but importantly, their whole front line died, and both the Trinity Force carries, both the people in a significant item power spike right now, separated from their team, could do nothing during that fight, and a complete ace, 5 for 0 for EP, and it should be Baron.
Yeah, Baron is going to get picked up here by EP, it looks like. Here they've rushed it and started it up already. 50% health left here, and that should be a pretty simple pickup at this point, but we have to look back at Royal there. Insect, just so aggressive, too aggressive.
Insect's trying to make things happen. He's always taken it upon himself to be a playmaker. That's the Insect that was imported to Starhorn Royal Club earlier in 2014. Now as the shot caller, it's almost like he's doubled down on the responsibility for himself, and it feels like both his play calling, Starhorn's rotations have definitely been completely underwhelming compared to EP, who have surprised us with excellent map movement and taking those outer rings of turrets very early. But just those engaged choices have also suffered. So personal play and team play just not coming together for either Insect or Starhorn Royal Club.
No, and like you mentioned, EP are looking very much together here in this particular series. And Raphael's Victor, we saw it in game 1, thought, okay, kind of a cute pick, maybe something they won't do again. Looking amazing here right now. 7-0-7. The death cap just completed. If you thought he was blowing up people before, just you wait.
And you get so much AP from those Hex Core upgrades. You start with 3 AP per level with the base Hex Core. It becomes 4 and 5 per level, and you get flat AP. So with this death cap now, already 561 AP at 22 minutes. We're talking about 20 a minute plus coming through from the Victor.
Yeah, just unbelievable damage. And we've seen again what Raphael can get done in team fights. EP going to go for their 4th dragon now as well as they move in for it as it just comes back up. And Royal, just no answer at this point. Almost a 10,000 gold lead here for EP.
We were waiting for this Victor to come into competitive play with Raphael, so known with this champion. Man, it looks good as we see trying to get the snipe. He gets
my God,
it!
he got it! I thought EP were being so patient, but Korn somehow steals the dragon.
Look, it's a small bit of momentum halted. It might be a hollow victory, but that was excellent play from Korn.
Yeah, just not quite long enough there to wait out the ulti. Shu trying to line up a hook, but Well will just Valkyrie out of the way. Baron, though, still up here for EP, remember, and Kane just rips through that turret.
In top lane, we see 2 people chasing Amazing J. They force out the onslaught of shadows, but you're not going to stop a Hecarim. He doesn't need Flash to get away from that Cataclysm, and the rotations across the map. there's nothing that Sahel Royal Club can do.
No, 6 turrets. No, 5. Sorry, Amazing J still hasn't worked on the top turret, but 5 turrets to 1 now for Energy Pacemaker. 10,000 gold now ahead. And this inhibitor turret in the bottom is not long for this world.
To be honest, Jarvan and Aurelia staying to deal with this Hecarim, who's obviously just buying time for his team's rotations. I'm not sure if they really want to win this game, Sahel Royal Club. They're just giving more time for EP to just steal away their base.
I mean, Amazing J has teleport and Kohler doesn't as well. In fact, he's not even there defending. They're just going to lose another inhib turret, maybe even the inhib now as well. Rinsec is going to dive in here, but he just gets blown up by Victor. Now Kohler in trouble. Amazing J is going to teleport back as well. Drizzle does have the kill, but Amazing J is running in. Raphael wants it so bad, but instead they take a second inhib.
It's going to be the second inhib. The game isn't over yet, but you might think it watching Inset. We tracked back his stats last week, 2-15 and 16. It's not looking much better than the second game, 0-5 and 7. After a promising start as Rengar, I mean, Insect and Star and Royal Club are falling apart.
They are a little bit here in EP. The opposite, you have to say, so together here, finally getting not just the oddball picks to work, but putting them in a cohesive team comp that looks so good when it works.
Exactly. When we saw that level 1 dragon, and then we saw them fall away and not push pressure, and we're like, okay, where's the next level in their comp? Where's their next rotation? In this game, they've always been the first to get the outer ring of turrets. They've rotated very well across the map. They still have that oddball flavor that really, brings a smile to your face when you see the likes of Victor, when you see the Hecarim top with Ignite Teleport, but it works out for them. And EP, they look like a practice top team, and you have to remember, this will only be their first 2-0 win.
It will. I just saw Raphael dissolve the Scuttle Crab, by the way, with a burst combo, so he's doing pretty insane amounts of damage. Kohler actually in trouble. The hook not going to land there. Good juke from Kohler. And unfortunately, no one took the Lantern right either, so no help forthcoming, but EP just have so much control of this map.
If there's any sort of LPL tipping, you know that this would have been an easy 2-0 tip for Starhan Royal Club, but the script has been written completely differently. Cataclysm comes onto Amazing J again in the bottom lane. He still has the Onslaught of Shadows. He's just buying time as his team powers down top lane.
I mean, he's so tanky. He's got Frozen Heart, Spirit Visage. Whenever he stands in champions, especially if there's a minion wave involved, that W gives him so much health back.
And I could hear a couple of laughs as we saw the rest of the team members just finally retreating away from him as EP 4-man push strong up top lane.
I mean, Amazing J at this point can just run with his E all the way up towards the top of the map if he does need to get in and initiate. Almost level 16 as well for another rank in the ulti. No Baron buff here for EP, but going to be maybe a bit tricky to break the base.
It's exciting to see EP finally looking to get to that 2-0. That will leave World Elite as the only team to not have a 2-0 victory in the LPL so far. But again, they've earned it. Really hard work, excellent rotations, and just good use of their pick.
Good hook onto Insect. He just gets exploded there by Kane, and Onslaught of Shadow does pop him in 0. Maybe going to get soloed out. He is ignited and goes down to Amazing J. Korn gets kicked back there by Drizzle. Amazing J just destroying people. Kane going to run in there as well, doing so much damage. The ulti almost enough. Raphael snipes it with a flash E, I think, just to make sure he secures the last kill in Aurelia, and EP going to take this series 2-0 well, just getting wrecked.
Yeah, he's getting
Here we go! Oh, does get it there. Kane finally gets the kill, and they complete the ace.
Their death timer should probably be long enough with 3 members up. They lost a lot of DPS diving that turret, but they'll probably call worth. And EP, out of nowhere, turn it on in style, all off the back of Raphael's Victor.
And just so strong. This Victor went off 9-0-11 for that particular game here, involved in 20 of the 22 kills and not a single death to his name.
You see the members shuffling through. It's a massive victory for EP as the handshakes come in. Who knows how this will revitalize their season? It took just to the halfway point for them to pick up their first 2-0 victory, but that actually catapults them over a few teams, World Elite included, off the bottom spot.
And you can see they just look so happy. I think that was Kane who was smiling his head off as he walked in to shake the hands of Royal, and EP finally pick up their first series win. They've picked up points before, but they've never won 2-0, and they did it in style against Royal. And for me, Papa, the biggest difference isn't just the 2-0 victory, it's how they won. When we've seen EP win in the past, they've taken their time, they've won very slowly, looked a little out of sorts. That was not just a win, that was a decisive win.
A decisive win. 28 minutes, 26 minutes, I believe 27-24 was the final timer here. Again, you're actually giving me war stories, remembering that EP versus WE game where EP, 10,000 gold ahead, took 15, 18 minutes, a couple of Barons to finish out a game against World Elite, and we were kind of scratching our heads strategically. This was decisive win. This was high-level League of Legends rotations and closing out of games from EP. Both those games, actually, shorter win time if you add them together than that one win over World Elite.
And just awesome stuff there for EP, but we are done just for that match. We've got to go to a quick commercial break, but when we return, we'll have more LPL action.